Guys, I know I've told some really funny jokes up here tonight. But I don't want to be a stand-up comedian when I grow up. That's not my goal. It's too hard of a life. I want to be Southern Belle. I know what you're thinking. Connor, you have a figure for it! Who dresses would look lovely on you? I started coming to meetings because it's something I've always wanted to do but never really had the courage to do. And then at first we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that we were a bunch of kids who all liked comedy, and like we would talk about it together and we would workshop new ideas. But for the most part, none of us had really even done open mics at the time, which is kind of necessary if you want to be a comic. So the first like big thing we did as a club is right in like IG Greer room 119. We had a show and maybe like 20 people came. And that was the first time I ever did stand up. And then the next week we started going to AMB. And after that it just kind of took off from there. It just sounds like the easiest fucking life. Spending your days at the Grand Old Opry House, being hit on by various landed gentry, only to turn them away with a staunch, "Why, Mr. Senator, I never."
The first advisor, who was a professor in the religion department, strange place to start with comedy, I guess, but he had an interest in comedy and just really enjoyed it himself, so he took it upon himself to kind of start this club and advertise it to different students, and these students came along, and to my knowledge, it was just mostly a love for stand-up, a love for that art form.
So yeah, my name's Jake. I like cologne so I can smell like I have a jawline. It was actually one of the first things I looked up when trying to pick a college. Stand-up comedy is a dream job. So when I was looking through over 400 clubs, that sounds pretty dope. One of them's got to be comedy.
I think it was because there was so much build up to it. Like, this was something I wanted to do for so long, and then I finally got to do it, and I loved it. It was in a classroom of maybe 30 people, half of which were everyone's friends. But I got up there and I practiced this script basically of what I wanted to do, and then didn't even do half of it. I just kind of made up the other half, and I think that was really what kept me coming back for more, was that one performance.
I was one of the founding members of the club. This club is in its second year right now, and like we only got officially recognized by the school halfway through last school year.
I think that a lot of people would just think of this as just like a fun thing to do, like get up in front, but the truth of the matter is, as far as me working in the theater, I've never been more stressed out on stage than when I've been trying to do comedy. It's serious business, and most comedians take it very seriously. When you go up on stage for the first time and tell jokes, you can pretty much tell it's not fun. It can be fun, but you have to take it very, very seriously to get to that point. So most of the people that do that for the first time and they didn't have fun and they drop out, that's what that is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But those that stick around with it, I would say all of them have this concept of taking it seriously. Like, it's something that they want to do. They want to perfect their craft. They want to improve.
Meetings start at 8. Everybody shows up around 8:30.
We have meetings on Mondays and Wednesdays. More people show up for Wednesday. Monday is we pitch bits.
We mess around for a bit, just pass ideas around, joke for a bit, which is like if you were to walk into one of our meetings, you would go, "Wow, that is the least productive club on campus." And I mean, you might be right, but like, just getting the creative juices flowing at the beginning of a meeting helps.
We have a set of open mics we'll go to, and we'll have the main shows. Previously at Greer, now at Whitewater. What we'll do is, if you're brand new, if you've never done comedy before, never touched it, you come with ideas, and we'll help you. come up with stuff. We'll try to work with your stage presence. To perform, you need to have performed at an open mic on campus and perform in front of club members at a meeting. So once you fill those two requirements and your set is good and it's tried and true, then you'll be able to get some time at a main show.
About once a week or once every 2 weeks, we try to do a writing exercise with the group to try to brainstorm new ideas. 1 week, our writing exercise, we put all the people's names in a hat. We passed them out randomly, and whoever name you drew, you had to write their suicide note from their perspective, which is like about as unpolitically correct as you can get. I got my friend Tyler, who's from Wisconsin, so I just talked about how like nobody understood how simple of a man he was, who only loved like sticks and rocks and trucks and beer.
I knew I wanted to be a comedian when I was 10 years old. Knew it's what I wanted to do, and it was the coolest job in the world.
This is what I want to do. Ideally, I don't know like an easier way to be like happy than doing this. So just for that reason alone, it's my dream job.
My defense mechanism in my DNA, whatever, I don't know, it's not necessarily genetic, but the defense mechanism that I create for myself is when I see something terrifying, I make it funny so it's not so scary anymore.
When my dad died a few years ago, he left me 3 white panel vans in his will. He was a handyman, he fixed stuff, he had a place to put his tools. At the time, I thought that was awesome. I'm like, I have 3 trucks. I have 3 potential rape convictions.
My job after he died was to make my mom laugh. That was it stopped her from crying. So I remember the day, just 3 years later, the first day I made a joke about my dad. My dad was a plumber. He had an ass crack up to his neck, like all the time. And I inherited it, it's not great. But I remember the day I made that joke for the first time. I started to remember him and everything that had happened, and I was able to be not okay with it, but accept it. So people say, why do you make jokes about your dad? I'm like, well, because he'd think they were funny.
Silly comedians might be, no matter how outrageous their shows are, I think all of them are doing it for a deeper meaning. They're definitely not doing it for the money. They're definitely not doing it for the fame, because it's very rare that you have a comedian that makes money or gets famous. They're doing it as a shared experience with humanity. Like, this is my observation. This is why it's twisted in some way. What can we do about that? Comedians aren't going to find their voice, right? What makes them unique, and what they don't really find that groove for years, 5, 6, 7, 10 years.
It's an emotional roller coaster completely. Until the other day, I had never bombed on stage before, since I was 12.
It happens frequently.
Oh, I have. Oh, everyone has. And if they say that they haven't, it's coming for them.
I used the same jokes I did at my last show, but the mic was broken, no one was paying attention, and just had a blackout. That was really depressing. A lot of ice cream after that. And chicken nuggets and cookies and cake. It was a bad day.
You're going to bomb. Do not expect laughs. Do not expect to be funny. You probably will be a little bit. You know what I mean? You'll get your chuckles here and there. But don't give up. It's terrifying. It's frightening. Getting on stage that second time was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Than even more difficult than going on stage the first time, because you have that experience and it just, but then you kill. You got that one night where you get to the point, you got the right audience, the right set, the right 5 minutes, and you just destroy. And people are gasping for air because they're laughing so hard. And that is the greatest feeling that you're ever going to feel in your life. I don't know, I haven't had kids yet. I hear that's pretty cool too.
Having an atmosphere where it was just creativity and real friendly, because that's something you don't get in like a major comedy scene. Like when you're in Raleigh, when you're in Asheville, God knows when you're in New York, the people there aren't there to help you, they're there to beat you. But it was so cool starting out in Boone where everyone was just really hoping that everyone else succeeded. It also gives you a false sense of security. So it's a give and take. Because like when you're automatically in the top 10 comics in Boone, when you do your first open mic, it's a bit of an ego boost. And then when you try to take that somewhere else, you find that maybe what I've been doing isn't as good as I think it is.
I really want to see the club be able to actually be known all around campus, because I feel like it is kind of a niche group of people in the club. We have trouble kind of branching out and finding ways to bring stand-up comedy to Boone. Just because there's not a lot of opportunities. It's not like there's a comedy club we could just go to.
Now, what these guys need to do, I mean, as far as becoming successful in comedy, I wish there was a formula. But working, just practicing your craft, working, selling out to it. We're actually planning a trip at some point, hopefully at the end of next year, to take a few of the club members up to New York. And we're going to stay in the App State Loft up there. And there's a comedy club across the street from that loft that we're going to go hang out, see some shows, and we're going to just go around the city and do what a comedian does in a week, and go to a bunch of open mic nights. And hopefully some of our guys are going to be able to get up and perform in LA, or in New York, not in LA. Don't go to LA.
I'll conclude tonight, guys, with a decision I made. It's a life choice, really. It's a life choice, really. I don't know why I'm doing this. I've decided to be famous. I know. It's a big one.
I have a message. All these kids have a message, and it's not. Hopefully, we will entertain you with our message. Just theater, and particularly stand-up comedy, is such a valuable asset. It's such a valuable thing to have access to. Encourage it, because it's free speech. It's the freest speech you can get for the most part, because you can get away with a lot of crap when you're a stand-up that you're not going to get away with anywhere else.